The premise of my game is basically killer robots, but that doesn't mean I can't have some wildlife in there. I need a few animals roaming around the place to help give the world some life. I've already got a few in here, but I'm not happy with them. There's this alien cow thing which I've had in the game for quite a while, but I'm not sure if it should be cut out or not. I've also got this big creature with the weird eyes that I've never been happy with. I liked the doodle I did for it originally, but I don't think this one works. I found that some things that look good on paper don't always translate well to a 3D model, and sometimes the opposite is true. Things that look a bit rubbish on paper can look good after modelling. I doodle a lot during my working day, and I try to use them for ideas for my game. Anyway, this one needs to go, but I need to replace it with something else. So I'm going to have a go at creating some new animals that will hopefully look better than these. The doodle I'm going with is something like this. It's only a tiny little sketch. From that I've created this reference image in Inkscape, something I don't always do, but decided to for this one to get the proportions right. I fire up Blender, insert the reference image and start modelling. I begin by adding a plane, then in edit mode I extrude edges out to form the basic shape in 2D. Then I add a mirror modifier so I only have to work on half the model. I extrude the whole outline to join the half I've done with the mirrored side. I add some loop cuts to create more detail, then I push and pull on the faces and vertices to plump it out or narrow it where needed. I add some more shapes for the eyes and horns. That's not looking too bad. I'll apply the mirror modifier and move on to rig the model. I've done this a few times now, so I'm getting quicker at it all the time. When parenting the mesh to the armature, I always select Armature Deform with empty groups and assign the faces to the bones manually instead of letting Blender guess which faces belong to which bones. That way you don't get any weird mesh deform effects when animating. Every face must be assigned to a bone in the vertex groups. If I miss one out, Godot may not render that face at all and leave bits of your model invisible. I can always go back to Blender and fix any that I've missed if needed. Now to create the animations. I changed the bottom panel from Dope Sheet to Action Editor so that I can create multiple animations. I go into pose mode and I give every bone a little wiggle to check that it's all working properly. Then I go to work and create the animations. For multiple animations to work, after I'm finished with one, I press the push down button. That makes sure the animation will be exported when the time comes and clears the deck for me to create the next animation. I've done walk, panic, die, and some transitional animations too. With the animations done, I can export to Godot. I use GLTF format as that's what's worked best for me, and it's also the future apparently. I set up the scene, add some code, not a lot, most of the work is done in the base class that this inherits from. I only add some things that's unique to this character like walk speed, animation speeds, max health, inventory, etc. That looks all white to me. All white as in there's no materials assigned to it. Right, let's add some colour to it. I assign some materials. That's better. It's okay, but I want to give it some more oomph. So I go back into Blender, UV unwrap my model and set up a 3-point lighting system. Then I do some texture baking. Now I have my baked texture image, I load it into GIMP and convert it into black and white. I'm going to use a texture just to add extra shadows and still allow the colours from the materials in Godot to show through, so I don't have to rebake to change any of the colours. Now to see it in the game. I'm quite pleased with that. But please tell me what you think in the comments. I want to create another animal, so I do the whole process again, but this time I don't bother with the reference image, I just play about and see what comes out. I end up with this weird dinosaur elephant alien thing here. Just for kicks and giggles, I have two versions of this one side by side. One uses only the materials assigned in Godot, while the other uses a texture baking method on top of the materials, so I can compare them. I think the baked one has more depth with the shadows, so I think it's worth the extra effort to create it. If you've got any feedback on this one, please again comment below. It can be difficult to objectively look at your own work because you've invested the time in creating it. The animals are not enemies, so you don't need to attack them, although you can shoot them if you wish and they'll go into a panic state, but it's mostly not necessary. The game is set in the future, so the colonists on this planet are all basically vegan, eating lab-grown artificial meat. But there is this one side quest where you bump into this dodgy chef down a back alley at one of the settlements who tries to persuade you to get him some real meat. I think I got away with that one. If you choose to accept his request, you have to go and hunt some of these animals. Of course, you can completely ignore him and live in harmony with nature. The choice is yours. So that's what I've been up to recently. Any feedback would be welcome. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Anyway, catch you in the next one.